Dear students, today we'll go through the topics on the hydrothermal scheduling process and automatic generation control in your module number 2. Already the derivations on the hydrothermal scheduling I shared in my YouTube channel, and by using these two links you can watch the derivations on the hydrothermal scheduling process. Next comes the topic on the basic generator control loops. Here this topic discusses on the control loops which are necessary for controlling the generators which are there in our power system. Here the generators are equipped with two major control loops, namely the automatic voltage regulator AVR and the ALFC or AGC, or the automatic load frequency control or the automatic generation control. If you want to know what is that automatic voltage regulator and automatic load frequency control, then here are the functions they have given. Automatic voltage regulator is basically used to control the terminal voltage of the generator. If you want to control the terminal voltage, then automatic voltage regulator parameter you can choose. Or if you want to control the reactive power to maintain the system frequency at a constant level, then you can adjust the speed of the prime movers in such a way that the system frequency and the reactive power will be maintained at a constant level. So that is what we are calling it as a automatic load frequency control or automatic generation control. These are the two definitions what we can give for automatic voltage regulator and AGC. Here, to understand that control loops of the generator, this is the block diagram what they have given for you. So here basically the block diagram is divided into two parts. One part they are having it for the secondary ALFC control loop, and other part they are having it for automatic voltage regulator. Here first we need to understand what is that ALFC loop, and afterwards we'll have the understanding of AVR. The tie line power which is there in that secondary ALFC, it will be fed to the signal amplifier and the mixer. Here the signal amplifier and the mixer, the output of this it will be given to the integrator, and another input for this integrator it will be for area control error. Both the inputs are fed to the integrator, and whatever the result we are getting from the integrator, that will be given to the speed changer unit, wherein we can get the delta P reference value from this speed changer. So this delta P reference value it will be given to the speed governing system. What the speed governing system will do here, it will measure or regulate the speed of the machine. Either it will measure or it will regulate the speed of the machine. That measure what we are having, that is delta PC, it is given to the hydraulic amplifier, and the output of the hydraulic amplifier delta PV it will be given to the control valves or the gate. What this control valves or the gate will do, it will modify whatever the steam or the water pressure we are getting, it will be modified or it will be controlled here in the control valves or the gate, and the output of that it will be given to the turbine, and turbine will rotate and it will be coupled to the generator, and we are having the generation of the power, and whatever the generated power we are having, that will be given to the transformer, and in turn it will be fed to the bus to feed the local loads. Suppose if you want to sense the frequency, then at that time directly whatever the output you are getting from the transformer, it will be fed back to the signal amplifier plus mixer with the help of the frequency sensor. So this will be your half portion of the ALFC loop. And in the second part, that is in the AVR is basically used to control the terminal voltage of the generator. Hence, whatever the generator control loop you are having, the terminal voltage is controlled by the field current, and it is supplied by the exciter. The field current which is supplied by the exciter, that will control the terminal voltage of that generator. To implement this AVR, the terminal voltage is controlled continuously, sensed, rectified and smoothened, and whatever the DC signal we are having or whatever the DC signal we are getting, that rectification signal it will be given to the comparator, and one more, the voltage reference will be given to the comparator. Here the comparator will compare these two signals and it will be given to the amplifier, wherein the amplification will be done in the amplifier and it will be given to the exciter. Here the error voltage which is amplified, and it is used as a input to the exciter to adjust the field current up to the terminal voltage reaches the reference value. If the terminal once if it is voltage is reached to the reference value, then it will be given to the generator and transformer, and again it will be given to the bus bar. So this is what the control loop of the generator we are having, and that will be explained with the help of the block diagram. Next comes the topic on the function of automatic generation control. What is the function of that automatic generation control we are having? Here, the main requirement of the automatic generation control, it is to ensure the following things. That is, first one is the frequency of various bus voltage are maintained at a scheduled frequency. So whatever the frequency at the buses you are maintaining, that will be maintained at a scheduled frequency level. And second one is the tie line power flow are maintained at a scheduled levels. And third one is the total power is shared by all the generator economically. This third parameter we can directly say it as it is an economic dispatch parameter. The first two functions are realized using this ALFC loop, and here it includes the n number of the functions which are listed here. That is, first one is it yields a generated trend acceptably matching the trend which is required to serve the changing load at a scheduled frequency over a selected time frame. That is the another function of AGC. And second function is scheduled generation to accumulate lower fuel cost over the selected time frame, which includes recognizing undesirable generations ranging in different units and avoiding the sustained operations in this ranges. They are taking the ranges here, and they are checking the recognition of the undesirable generation ranges which are there in that system. Third one is maintaining a sufficient level of reserved control range and sufficient level of the control rates. And fourth one is operate the system with a higher security margins. The security margins what we are having, it should be at a higher, or it should be given at a highest priority. Then fifth one is provide timely recommendations for changing of output of units which are manually controlled. Then the last function of the AGC is it will provide meaningful alarms such as display in the control centers for deviation of the desired generation, unit not responding to the AGC control signals, and anticipated future generations, and the parameters which are related to the generation systems. So these are the functions of the automatic generation control. Then the important topic of this module number 2, that is the speed governing systems or the speed governors. First, we'll understand what is that speed governor and how it will affect, and then we'll see about the different types of the speed governors. Here, the speed governor is a device which is used to control the speed of the prime mover based upon the load requirement of that particular system. So this is what the definition we can give it for speed governor. Speed governor is a device which is used to control the speed of the prime movers based on the load requirement of that particular system. Okay, so what happens in this phenomena? Suppose if there is a load on the generation increases suddenly, at that time what will happen is mismatch in the power is compensated by the kinetic energy which is stored in that generator. So that will leads to the reduction in the speed of the turbine and also the frequency droop characteristics in that particular system. So if you are having the reduction of the speed and the frequency droop, then speed governor react to the change in the speed and it will adjust the turbine input. Whatever the speed governor you are going to employ, it will react to the change in the speed of the turbine and it will go for adjustment of the turbine input in that particular system. After adjustment of the turbine input, the mechanical power output is changed to match the increased power output of that system. If you are changing the mechanical power output, then whatever the increased output you are having, that will have the restoration of the system frequency for a normal operation. So this will be the phenomena in the speed governing system. So here in a steam turbine, governor controlled valves are controlling the power output to the turbine. But in the hydro turbines, we are having the governor controlled gates which are controlling the power input to the turbines. See the difference, governor controlled valves and the governor controlled gates. Here valves and gates are normally used to control the pressure of the steam or pressure of the hydro turbines with hydro system which is there in that particular operations. So one block diagram they are given here for steam turbine generator scheme, that is speed governing system. That input it is given to the control valve, wherein the steam of that speed governing system or the steam of that particular plant, it will be controlled and it will be given to the turbine according to the desired levels, and that turbine will be coupled to the generator, wherein mechanical energy will be given to that, and whatever the generator output we are having, that will be given to the grid. And the output, if you want, you can have it for the feedback system as a speed governing parameter. Okay, so the speed of the turbine is also taken as a feedback parameter for the speed governing system. Here stop valve, it is used to stop or start the total steam which is flowing for that particular turbine system. All the equipments such as relays, servo motors, pressure or the power amplifier devices, linkage between the speed governor and governor control valves or the gate forms the speed control mechanisms. So here next comes the type of the speed governor system. How many types are there in that speed governor system? Conventionally, if you are going to consider the governors, then the conventional components of that speed governing system are of 4 types. That is flyball speed governors, linkage mechanism, hydraulic amplifier and speed changers. These are all the conventional governors which are used as a speed governing systems. But as of the present scenario, the electronic hydraulic governing systems are used as a speed governor operations. That is the era of having the conventional governors, it is shifted to the electronic era and the electronic hydraulic governing systems are employed. Here the modes of governor operations. In defining the modes of governor operation, the normal speed is considered to be the 100% and full load whatever we are having, that will also be considered as a 100%. That is speed is 100% and load is a full load condition. By having these two assumptions, there are 2 types of the governor operation. One is the isochronous operation of that governors and another one is droop mode operation. Here in this isochronous operation, the governor maintains a constant speed for a no load to full load. The governor maintain a constant speed from no load to full load. That is indicated here in this diagram. That is load versus speed or the frequency. If you are taking speed or frequency at 100%, then whatever the load it is there with respect to the speed or the frequency will be maintained at a constant level or the constant speed from no load to full load. A prime mover and a generator operating in isochronous mode can maintain the desired output frequency regardlessly the load change, as long as the prime mover capacity is not exceeded and the mode is normally used for the isolated system. Here whatever the change you are experiencing in the load, that will be maintained with a isochronous mode of operations and with respect to the desired output of the frequency. And normally this type of the isochronous operation, it is used in the isolated system. Next comes the droop mode operation. Here the speed droop is a decreasing in speed or frequency proportional to the load as shown below. That is whatever the output you are having, the speed from no load to full load, it will be in a decreasing manner. For that purpose it is called as a droop mode operation. And whatever we are having from this W0 to WFL, that is what we are calling it as a change in the speed and it will be indicated as delta omega. This figure shows the droop mode characteristic curve of the system. And in the droop mode characteristics, here you can see whatever the change in the frequency we are having, that will be equal to change in the speed per unit. That is R is equal to delta F divided by delta V, where R is the regulation of that system. That is delta F is nothing but what? F minus F0. That is frequency from no load to full load. That is system frequency and F is the actual system operating frequency. Here